The store owner's voice cut through the quiet hum of the upscale boutique, sharp and accusatory. "Empty your pockets. Now." He was a man named Mr. Davies, his face flushed with certainty as he stared down the 16-year-old girl. Maya stood frozen, her hands trembling slightly, a single silver bracelet she'd been admiring still clutched in her palm. The security guard, a hulking man, moved to block the exit. The power dynamic was painfully clear. The wealthy white store owner and the black teenager in a store she'd saved for months to afford to enter. Mr. Davies had seen her browsing, had decided her presence was a threat. He had no idea that the man about to walk through the door wasn't just her father, but the judge who would soon be presiding over his own case. "I knew I shouldn't have let you in," Davies sneered, snatching the bracelet from her. "You people always think you can take what isn't yours." The slur was casual, woven into his accusation as if it were fact. Maya's eyes welled with hot, humiliating tears, but she held her head high. She thought of her father's words, a mantra in their home. "Your dignity is not theirs to take." She remained silent, a quiet statue of composure amidst the storm of his prejudice. The security guard's hand was firm on her arm, a promise of further shame. What Mr. Davies couldn't see was the years of mentorship Maya had received at her father's knee, learning the precise language of the law not as a career, but as a shield against a world that often saw her as guilty until proven innocent. The wail of a police siren pierced the air. Two officers entered, their expressions bored, ready to process another shoplifting call. Mr. Davies launched into his rehearsed speech about certain demographics and loss prevention. Just as an officer was about to guide Maya toward the door, a calm, authoritative voice stopped them. "I'd like to see the evidence before you detain my daughter." Judge Aaron Miller stood in the doorway, his simple but well-tailored coat a stark contrast to the boutique's opulence. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't even looking at the officers. His eyes were fixed on the security camera mounted above the counter. "The footage. From the moment she entered. I assume you'll be preserving it for discovery," he stated, his tone leaving no room for argument. This was his hidden skill, revealed not with anger, but with the calm, decisive action of a man who knew the law inside and out. He was dismantling the case before it could even be built. Mr. Davies's face paled. The judge's presence was a seismic shift in the room's energy. Flustered, he scrambled for control. "Your Honor," he stammered, "a terrible misunderstanding. Of course, we won't be pressing charges. In fact, please take the bracelet. A gift for your inconvenience." He was trying to buy his way out of the consequences, to offer a trinket in exchange for absolution. Judge Miller didn't even glance at the jewelry. "No," he said, the word final as a gavel strike. "You do not get to offer trinkets for my daughter's dignity. We are well past that." The store's manager, alerted by the commotion, arrived and immediately accessed the security footage. It played out on a monitor for all to see. Maya carefully picking up the bracelet, admiring it, and then being approached by Mr. Davies before she even had a chance to return it to the case. There was no intent, no theft, only his biased assumption. The revelation was complete. The backstory unfolded in the ensuing local news report. Judge Aaron Miller wasn't just any jurist. He was a former public defender who had built his career on fighting systemic prejudice in the justice system. Mr. Davies wasn't just accusing a girl, he was demonstrating the very behavior this judge had spent a lifetime combating. The fall was swift. The boutique's parent company, facing a public relations nightmare, terminated Mr. Davies's contract and issued a formal public apology to Maya and her family. The story, however, didn't end there. A month later, Judge Miller was invited to oversee a new community outreach program, a partnership between the city IS court system and local businesses. Its goal was implicit bias training for retail owners and security personnel. And sitting on the advisory board, her voice clear and confident, was Maya. The store owner's accusation had not broken her. It had forged her into an advocate. The man who had shouted was now silent, his career a cautionary tale in the very training his actions had helped inspire. The underdog had not just been vindicated, she had been elevated, her painful experience transformed into a tool for systemic change. This story proves that the loudest accusation can be silenced by the quietest truth, and that true power lies not in a position, but in an unshakable sense of self-worth. If this story of dignity and justice touched your heart, subscribe to the channel for more tales of the underestimated rising.